Hi friends! Okay, so in this video, I want to talk about kind of the pre-qualifications for surgery and the required visits and everything that got me to this point. So just a backstory, I am currently have gone through all of the pre-qualifications and I am waiting for my surgery date, which I will share with you guys a little bit later. But right now, I want to talk about all of the pre-qualifications as far as the steps that I took with the doctors and everything to get to this point. So the first thing I did was call my insurance just to confirm that they cover this type of surgery. So they did go ahead and let me know that I've reached my family deductible, and if I get the surgery done by the end of 2022 this year, that it will be fully covered. So each insurance is different. That was just what my insurance told me. So I wanted to go ahead and start as soon as possible. That was I believe that was in July. We are now in November. So today is November 18th. So I first called my insurance in July. Then I had to have an initial visit with my primary care provider. Funny story, actually. I had a primary care provider that I had been to like twice, maybe. Didn't know him that well, but I did go ahead and go to him because that was what the insurance told me to do. I had that initial visit. I let him know, my goal is to get this done, by the end of this year. I already understood by that point, after doing a little bit of research, that it takes quite a few months, especially with most insurances in the United States, to go ahead and get approved for surgery. So I knew it was going to take some time, but I was like, listen, let's go ahead and get this done. Let's try to get this done by the end of 2022 so that it can be covered. And basically your primary care provider has to sign off on that. They're kind of the ones that initiate the whole process and sign off on the whole process before you go to surgery. I was getting a lot of pushback from mine. That's my little side story, is just that he was kind of rude about it and like interrupting me a lot, not really asking me any questions of why I wanted to get the surgery or anything. He was just kind of like, well, you're going to have to make a big life change. It might take over a year. And I'm like, a year? You know what I mean? It was kind of like I was getting a lot of judgy vibes. So it just didn't feel right. And I'm all about, like, if something doesn't feel right in your spirit, then it's not right. But I had thought by that point it might be too late to change PCPs. But honestly, if you feel something, then go with how you feel. So I looked up another PCP and I went to my now PCP, and she was amazing, 100% fully supported it. And I just felt like it was the right decision. So I went ahead and went with her. She gave me the referral for the surgeon. And that's when I had to go and have a visit with the bariatric surgeon. They gave me all of the information on the weight loss surgery I'm having, which is vertical sleeve gastrectomy, or VSG, and also gave me information on the gastric bypass, and basically told me that I have, to choose between the two options, because those are the two surgeries that he does. And there's pros and cons with both, and I had to make that decision, which honestly took me a while, a lot of research as well. But that's a very personal decision, and I can make a video on why I decided to go with VSG. I plan on making that video, so just keep a lookout for that. But for now, I had that visit with the surgeon, and at that visit is where they let me know what the pre-qualifications for my insurance, United Healthcare, were for this type of surgery. So these are the pre-qualifications. So I first had to have a psychiatric evaluation to make sure you're not crazy. I also had to have a chest x-ray. I had to have 2 sets of blood work done. So I had blood work done when I had the initial visit, and then by the end of the whole journey, after I had done all of these things, I had to have blood work done again. So that was about, I would say, about two or 3 months in between those 2 blood work panels. And then I also had to have a electrocardiogram by a cardiologist, and I had to get a clearance basically from the cardiologist. And I also had to have 3 visits with a nutritionist 1 month apart from each one. So it was like 1 visit to a nutritionist per month for 3 months. So that was September, October, November. It was like at the beginning of each month, I had a 1-hour nutritionist visit. And that is a requirement by United Healthcare. It's going to be different with every insurance. Some insurances only require 1 nutrition visit, for example. So it's different with everyone. So if you are looking to go through this process, it might be different with your insurance. I'm just letting you know, I have United Healthcare, and that was what was required for me. And then after all of that, I basically had to go back to my PCP and get the last clearance from them, and they're basically like approving the surgery. So they see all of the notes from nutritionists, the psych evaluation, the cardiologist, and the blood work, and they review all of that, and then they go ahead and give you the stamp, and then you go off to the surgeon again for your last visit with the surgeon. So I had that last visit, and then they go ahead and tell you that they're sending all of that paperwork off to insurance, and usually it takes 2 weeks for insurance to come back and approve the payment for the surgery, I guess, or the coverage, whatever they're covering for the surgery. It takes them about 2 weeks to approve it. But on that last visit with the surgeon is when you get your surgery date. So my surgery date is December 21st. If nothing else comes up, God willing, nothing else will come up. My surgery date is December 21st. So that is where I'm at. I will make a video kind of going over every single step of the process for me and how that went, like how the nutritionist visits were, how the chest x-ray, everything like that. So right now this is just what you have to do, at least for my insurance and all the steps it took. So from July, from that first call to the insurance, and then I think my first PCP visit was August, the second one was probably also in August, and then September is when the visits with the surgeon were, and then everything kind of happened through there, September, October. Now we're in November, everything's done. I had my last surgery consult on November 7th, and so now we're on November 18th, and I am waiting for the call that my surgery date of December 21st has been solidified and approved, and I'm on the schedule, and then we go from there. So stay tuned, stick around for the journey. I'm gonna keep making these videos. Thank you for tuning into my journey, and keep loving yourself.